right, can everybody hear me? Yes. Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Mary Beth Martin, and I'm the Executive Director of the Earl Scruggs Center. And on behalf of our Board of Directors for the Earl Scruggs Music Festival and our planning team, welcome and thank you so much for joining us today. Almost 4 years ago, which is really hard to imagine, we joined with our partners at WNCW 88.7 and Isothermal Community College to begin planning the inaugural Earl Scruggs Music Festival, with the mission to bring people to our region for a world-class event that honors one of the most influential musicians in American music, Mr. Earl Scruggs, and to celebrate the rich musical history and culture of this region of North Carolina where he was born and raised. And so today, the inaugural Earl Scruggs Music Festival is just 1 month away. And we're excited to share some special announcements with you. But before we do that, I'd like to introduce some of the members of our planning team and some members of the Earl Scruggs Music Festival Board of Directors who will make comments this morning. So first we'll have Steve Johnson. He's the president of SJ21 Music, and he serves as our Artist Relations Coordinator for the festival, and he'll share some updates regarding festival programming. JT Scruggs is a member of the Scruggs family. He's been involved with the Earl Scruggs Center since the planning and development. He remains an ambassador for us, and today he serves as the chairperson for the Earl Scruggs Music Festival Board of Directors. From Isothermal Community College, we have Stephen Matheny, Chief Operations Officer for the college, and Joe Kendrick, Director of Programming and Operations for WNCW, and he'll also be moderating any questions that you have. And then we have Jeff Fissel, Director of Events for our host site and partner, Tryon International Equestrian Center. And I just wanted to mention, even though she's unable to be with us today, I'd like to recognize Claire Armbruster. She's our Artistic Director for the festival, and I know she's with us in spirit today. She's a really important member of our team. So after their comments, all of these panelists will be available for your questions. So now I'll turn it over to Steve Johnson to make some comments about our festival programming.
Thank you, Mary Beth. Good morning. How's everyone doing this morning? Excellent. Well, we're excited to announce a few exciting opportunities that are happening with the Earl Scruggs Music Festival. Hard to believe, almost 4 years ago, Dave Kester and I sat down and we talked about what it might look like to bring together an Earl Scruggs Music Festival with a number of partners that are seated here at the table. And almost 4 years later, here we are bringing the festival to you. A couple of exciting things to mention today. One is that we have one additional artist announcement to make for the day, and that is we have added North Carolina's very own Town Mountain to the lineup. A couple of the members of Town Mountain are here in the audience with us today, and they'll probably do a little jamming in the back of the room here after this press conference is over, so hopefully you'll stick around for the music and enjoy some food and listen to a little bit of music from some of the artists that are gathered here with us today. There are a number of artists that are in the room that are going to be performing at the festival. I'll probably leave someone if I try to name them all, but let me quickly try to mention. We have Town Mountain that I just mentioned. We have Fireside Collective, a couple of representatives from there. We also have Darren and Brooke Aldridge, Unspoken Tradition, and Balsam Range represented in the room, and they'll all be at the back of the room. Laura Businger as well is going to join them. They'll all be at the back of the room to perform a little bit of music and entertain you folks as we go through the rest of the morning and the afternoon, so please stick around for that. A few other things to announce is we have a special Earl Scruggs Revue set that's going to be happening on Saturday afternoon, and that's hosted by the Bluegrass Situation. They're very prominent and seminal group in bluegrass music. As far as bringing music together around the community, around the world, the Bluegrass Situation has done a lot to further what we do in terms of music, and has been very supportive of the Earl Scruggs Music Festival and the artists that are performing. So part of that set, the Fireside Collective is going to be the house band for that, and we're excited to have them there. But some special guests are going to be joining them, including Darren and Brooke Aldridge, Acoustic Syndicate, Jerry Douglas, and plenty of others that are going to be named here soon. So it's going to be a really great set on Saturday afternoon that you're not going to want to miss. Also, I want to mention that we have a few workshops that are planned. The workshops that are planned, we actually just formed a new one today, so we'll be sending some information out on that. But Laura Businger and some others will be hosting a workshop for us over the weekend, and excited to announce that. No telling what will happen at a press conference. You'll get a workshop out of the session just by showing up and talking. But we have a special Earl Scruggs Nashville Years that's going to be happening as part of the workshops over the weekend. Jerry Douglas, Bela Fleck, and others will be participating in that. That'll be just something to do in addition to the music that's going to be happening over the course of the weekend. Also, Tommy Goldsmith is going to be hosting a few workshops over the weekend. One of the ones that I'm really excited to see is Meet the Authors. It's going to be hosted by Craig Havigerst. That'll feature Tommy Goldsmith, David McConey, Jordan Laney, and a host of others that'll be there for that workshop over the weekend. Additionally, we have some other workshops to include banjo and guitar that will be happening, and excited to have those on the lineup. You might even hear a little bit of the Earl Scruggs style three-finger picking on the banjo if you attend any of those workshops. Sam Blumenthal has been instrumental in helping us put together some special music for Saturday morning. This is going to involve the Jam Kids, the Junior Appalachian musicians. The first 3 sets on the Foggy Mountain stage on Saturday morning will involve the Jam Kids, and we're excited to have them as part of the festival. So hopefully you'll go out and listen to the kids first thing on Saturday morning, listen to the music that you're going to be bringing to the festival. We're also going to have some special inaugural festival merchandise. There doesn't seem to be any other place to mention that, but I want to mention too that you want to take home your inaugural Earl Scruggs Music Festival merchandise from the weekend and put that on your display case or wear it proudly when you're going to other music festivals to let them know you attended the very first Earl Scruggs Music Festival that happened at the Tryon International Equestrian Center. With that, I'm going to turn it over to J.T. Scruggs to talk a little bit more about some of the things we have planned for the festival weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Steve's still young and energetic. I'm not going to get up if that's okay. I'm going to sit right here. Because I'm not that young anymore. You know, I think back, he mentioned when he and Dave got together, I can remember when Dave Kester called and said, can I meet with you and Mary Beth and talk about something that we're thinking about? And so we met, and Dave brought up this idea of a festival. And we've been talking about hopefully sometime in the future having a festival, but we didn't think we could pull it off at that time by ourselves. But with his encouragement, we said yes. But Dave, Mary Beth, and I talked, and we said, if we're going to do it, we have to maintain what we've said all along, that anything we do with Earl's name on it has to be quality. It's got to be up there, high standards. We're going to have the best bands. We're going to have, everything's going to be great. And I'm really happy when I look at the lineup and see the musicians and the artists that we've got coming, that I think we've hit a home run with our lineup. I think it's going to be great. And it means a lot to the family. I know when we talked to Gary about doing the festival, he was on board with us. Unfortunately, we lost him earlier this year. His 2 sons are now the representatives of the trust, and they're working with us and very cooperative. And I know Jamie and his family will be at the festival, and Jess, the doctor, hopefully his schedule will allow him to come. But we're looking forward to having the family here for the festival, and they're really excited. I got a message from Jamie last week and said they're getting really excited and ready to go. And I think I guess the bottom line one of the things out of the festival that means a lot to us is the revenue that we get from the festival, hopefully. It's going to go a long way with the college and the Scruggs Center to continue to promote events, particularly the educational things that we're doing. And I think with the college and their education programs, and with what Mary Beth is doing here, a great job with the youth and kids programs, that's going to really help us and help us to continue those. So, you know, from being a part of the family, all I can say is I am really happy. I'm looking forward to the festival. And if you folks, one last reminder, if you have not been downstairs, if you've not seen the Scruggs Center, if you're welcome, and please take the time afterwards to look around, and certainly we would enjoy your comments. Hopefully most of them will be good. If not, we would certainly entertain making corrections or changes. And there's going to be some changes coming up soon in some of the things downstairs. So I'm looking forward to it. Stephen, I think you're next.
All right, thank you, JT. I'm Stephen Matheny from Isothermal Community College, and like Mr. Scruggs said, we've been involved from day one, and I think it's important to the college because back in the mid-'80s, there was a request that went to the legislature for support for public radio. And when the legislature supported that in the community college system, there were just a handful of community colleges that received support through the state funding. And Isothermal Community College was one of those, and here comes WNCW. There was a lot of vision, a lot of latitude in how we would program the station, and I really credit those who were there originally to have the vision not just to be an NPR station, to do news programming, but to take the charge of the legislature seriously to impact the culture in the region. And the idea was there's a need and a demand for music. And so one of the themes that WNCW upholds is a world of music. And certainly bluegrass, Americana, the eclectic mix has not just impacted the region, but it has a worldwide impact. And so the partnership of the college and the Earl Scruggs Museum, because of what Earl Scruggs has done across the globe, is a natural fit. So we are excited about the opportunity to be able to support programming at WNCW with any proceeds from the event as a beneficiary of the 501c3 or the Earl Scruggs Music Festival, so that we can continue to impact lives and let the legacy of Earl Scruggs live on. It's clear that it's impacted so many lives throughout history, and we're proud to be remotely involved, and so any part that we can have in this festival, from the expertise that we have on staff, and Joe Kendrick will be speaking to that, the other on-air talent, they are a wealth of knowledge as it relates to all the genres of music. And the college hopes to allow folks like Joe and Paul Foster and others to also get involved. They've been teaching some adjunct loads in the curriculum areas to have influences on the broadcasting technology. So we're connected, we're thrilled, and we're very excited to be a part of this event. I think I'll turn it to Joe now and let him speak.
Thank you, Stephen. So I can't tell you how excited we are to have this come to fruition, because it's been a long time. We've been waiting on this for literally years. We wanted to have it happen, and then of course COVID happened and everything got turned upside down. So finally we're about to pull the trigger on the Earl Scruggs Music Festival, and it's amazing. I won't lie to you, we've got a few butterflies. It's a first-year festival. It's a big lift, and we're all really anxious to get it underway, but I think it's going to be a great success. And WNCW has not only been reflecting and celebrating the culture of our region, and music especially, but we've always had a history of being directly involved in events and putting ourselves out there in person in the community at events, and being able to help shape what happens going forward. And that's one of the most exciting things about this festival, is actually being able to be a part of what is happening on the ground at Tryon International Equestrian Center. And it's going to be a wonderful experience for everybody, I think. You'll see a lot of WNCW staff out there. You'll see myself, Martin Anderson, Dave Kester, a lot of our other hosts that may be doing things like emceeing or just taking part in it in some way. We're going to have everybody out there and enjoying it, and being able to meet all of you, and also, of course, the artists and the public at large, and hopefully expanding our mission by being able to gather new fans. Of course, we're going to have a lot of our solid supporters and people that are always going to be at these bluegrass shows, but then being at Tryon International Equestrian Center, being a brand new festival, I think we're going to attract a lot of interest from new people that may not have heard of WNCW, and so that's exciting for us too. That's about all I've got to say. I think I'm going to have to switch gears here now and start to be the moderator for your questions. Now, keep in mind too, Steve mentioned this, but you've also got the opportunity to pull aside some of the artists that are here, and we've got an amazing array of talent that will talk to you for your publication, for your media outlet. Phil Barker and Zach Smith of Town Mountain. We've got Audie McGinnis from Unspoken Tradition, Jesse Iaquinto and Tommy Mayer from Fireside Collective. We've got Darren and Brooke Aldridge, Laura Businger, and Darren Nicholson of Balsam Range, and I'm sure they would love to chat with you afterward. So now, if you would, I will take your questions. Oh, and then I will repeat the questions so that we can all hear.
Be a little more mobile, isn't it? Okay, I'll ask a question. Because we asked this question to JT when we came. We're doing a podcast for the Blues Music Trails on this festival, and one of our main questions to JT was, what is going to make this festival different than all the others?
All right, our listener is asking, what is going to make this festival different than all the others for JT?
Well, to me, what's going to make it special and really good is that when people leave, they're going to say, best festival ever. Can't wait till next year. I'm going to tell all my friends about it, and we're going to have even more people next year.
I'd love to hear more about the partnership with Tryon Equestrian Center and kind of why that's the home for the inaugural festival.
Sure, Danielle Troy is asking about the partnership with Tryon International Equestrian Center, why that wound up being the home for the festival. I think this is your question, Jim.
I don't know if I can speak to exactly why it ended up being the home, but I think going back to Laura's question as well, is I think one of the things we want folks to leave at the end of that festival is going, oh my goodness, these festival grounds are unbelievable. And the fact that we've got this great partnership between three really strong entities in the Equestrian Center, the Earl Scruggs Center, and Isothermal Community College, in that when you get out to that Equestrian Center and convert what is normally a amazing facility for equestrian events into a festival grounds, I think we're all going to walk away going, oh my goodness, I can't wait for next year, because this is such a cool place to come when in terms of we have covered seating and we have on-site restaurants and you have on-site lodging. You've got all these ways to make a really unique festival experience to go along with the great lineup that's been curated and put together and the great partnerships from all entities involved. So I think that's a big part of it. And as the Equestrian Center, we're extremely proud to be honoring that legacy of Earl Scruggs, to honor that local tradition of bluegrass music and the evolution of it from both the traditional and the progressive, and see Earl's influence that's been in our community, and we get a chance to highlight that and welcome folks from all over the world to do something different than equestrian sports, but come out and enjoy some world-class music as well.
Joe, if I could add to that, I think the workshops that are being planned and added, for that educational component, specifically related to Earl Scruggs, the technique, the history, is going to be an added benefit to this festival, and the Tryon Equestrian Center lends well to providing the space and a relaxed environment for folks to be able to participate in that, where if you're in a more institutional setting, classroom style, they may not be as willing to participate, but in the relaxed, comfortable environment that they provide, it's a great fit, and I think folks will take advantage of those opportunities.
Yes.
First of all, I've got several questions. Length of the sets for the artists, how that's going to work, and also how it's set up. Is if people bring their own chairs, or will there be chairs involved for people? And would it culminate
guess that's me. I want to address the question that Laura asked too before I forget to mention this. I think the thing that makes this festival unique is it's the only festival I'm aware of that uniquely celebrates the life, legacy, and music of Earl Scruggs. I think that's the takeaway right there. So I wanted to mention that. I think that's really what separates it from any of the other festivals out there, in addition to everything that's been said. But I think really importantly, this is the only festival I'm aware of that does that. And I'm excited about that part, to be involved with celebrating all those aspects of Earl's music. As far as the set length, most of the sets are at least an hour. Some are a little bit longer, especially some of the artists that are going to be playing a little bit later in the evening. I'll use the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, Bela Fleck, and My Bluegrass Heart, his set as an example. Most of those sets are scheduled for 90 minutes, so there'll be a lot of opportunity to listen to a lot of great music. To your question about collaboration and jams, there is a grand finale jam that's planned for Sunday at the close of the festival, but also throughout the weekend. I'm expecting a lot of collaboration based on the communication I've had with several of the artists. I know specifically on Friday night, we've got the unique opportunity to have Sam Bush, Bela Fleck, and Jerry Douglas all under the same roof. I'll leave it at that and let the imagination run from there, but I'm sure there'll be some opportunities for those three artists to collaborate in some form or fashion. As far as the seating and the logistics around that, there's a number of different ticketing opportunities and opportunities for varying levels of purchasing tickets from single day through the entire weekend. Jeff, I may have you address that if that's all right.
Yeah, I think it depends on the type of ticket. You can bring your own chair, clear bag policy. I mean, it's standard in most venues these days to make sure that we can see and quickly get folks in and out of the event. But for the Foggy Mountain stage, yeah, you can set a chair up. But there's also seating available. And if you have a grandstand seat, for instance, which are still available, it's covered and, full stadium-style seating with the seat back. So very comfortable spaces. They're unassigned. You can pick where you want to sit within that, wherever you're getting the view that you want and that sounds best to you. So if you're doing a GA ticket, probably a good idea to bring a chair. If you want to get right up there close to the stage, you can set your chair up, sit down, and be right there. If you've got a grandstand ticket, you're going to be well covered. And if you have one of the VIP level tickets, you've definitely got cover there. So you're indoors in the air conditioning and great food and hospitality as well.
Yes.
You guys mentioned this was something that was planned several years ago. COVID happened and it kind of turned things on its head. What are some of the changes that the festival has seen? What are some of the challenges that you've seen having to push this back? And how did you kind of address those as they arose?
Question from the show star about challenges and pivoting.
Well, I think there's been several, believe me. We made the initial announcement at IBMA in 2019. Our first festival was going to be 2020. And of course, everybody knows what happened in January and February of 2020. We got that special COVID that we still ain't been able to get rid of. But nevertheless, we made the decision to go ahead and put it off till 2021. Surely COVID's going to be gone by then. Well, as you know, it wasn't. And we made what we thought was a very hard decision in 2021 to put it off because we wasn't sure. First of all, we had a lot of people who bought tickets for the 2020. And we said, what's going to happen? They said, well, festivals normally don't give refunds. And we said, yeah, but this is something special. This is COVID. So we offered refunds to anybody that had tickets that wanted them back. And we had about 30% initially who took their money back. But we had about 70% who trusted us and said, we're going to hang on to it. And they've continued to hang on. When we announced again in 2021 we was going to cancel, we had another 10 or 15% to get their money back. But we've still got that 50 to 55% out there who have trusted us, believed in us, and we promised them that we would keep them under a shed, because initially we planned on doing this indoors. But then we decided we'd move it outside, but we had the people who had bought tickets initially thought they was going to be inside. So those people are still going to be undercover. We said no matter what kind of ticket they bought, we're taking care of those people who bought tickets and held on to them for 3 years. So they're going to be undercover. If they bought VIP tickets, obviously they're going to be inside. But there's been a lot of changes, a lot of challenges, I should say. Obviously, some of the artists that we had initially couldn't come back because they had booked other dates and they couldn't do 2021. You know, we hated to lose them, but fortunately we brought in some additional artists, and as I said before, I challenge you to find a better festival that has a better bluegrass lineup than we've got. I just think we've got a great lineup. And so, yeah, there's been a lot of challenges, a lot of hard decisions that the group had to make about postponing. We just didn't know for sure what was going to happen. But guess what? We're 4 weeks away, and we're going to do it this year.
Hey, Joe, can I add a few things to what JT was talking about? Some things that we've changed since the original planning. Like he said, we moved from indoors to outdoors. But having that time to really consider how to best honor Earl's legacy, I think, has been helpful in that we've been able to plan out the workshop schedule. That's something that's really important to us, to look at the education piece and how do we talk about Earl's life and legacy, and in addition to that, you know, the musical culture that we have in this area and why it's so important. A few other things we've done is we've expanded the lineup some, we refreshed the lineup, and we added a third day. So folks who bought tickets to begin with, they were buying tickets to a 2-day festival, and now those folks who, like JT said, those folks who stuck with us, they have an extra day of the festival. So we've been able to expand what we're doing and hopefully increase the impact of the festival.
Just want to follow up, since you mentioned the artist lineup changing. You said earlier it's very important that this festival honor Earl's legacy and his musical styles. How did you curate the group of artists that you have coming for this year?
Question about how we curated a group of artists.
Is there anything specific
lineup?
Yeah, so a lot of the lineup includes artists who have direct connections to Earl in some way. Many of them played with him, knew him personally. All of them were influenced by Earl. And I think it was really important to look at the artists we were choosing for the festival and be able to show Earl's influence and impact in some way. And so you'll see that throughout the lineup. Even folks who may not have ever met Earl, they can certainly say that they were influenced by him. But it is really important to have artists who did have personal connections with him. And so you will see that throughout the lineup.
Yes.
When it comes to the nitty-gritty dirt band, is it the full lineup including John, and also is it, when their performance comes, is it really heavy bluegrass, or are they gonna bring some of their contemporary sounds to the show as well?
Question about the dirt band, their lineup, and what they're gonna sound like. Well, that's a lot of question. The lineup of the band may be kind of dry, but what they're gonna play, who knows?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I don't know that we've had specific conversations with them about that, but I do know that we're 50th year of the Will the Circle Be Unbroken album, and with that, I think we can probably anticipate that there will be at least a few songs from that album, especially reflective of Earl's participation. The other piece that I'll mention is the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band obviously, you know, had a strong connection to Earl Scruggs. Not just through the Will the Circle Be Unbroken, but throughout their career and his career. So I would anticipate that the artists, at least a good number of the artists, will probably celebrate Earl's music in some kind of special way in each part of every set throughout the weekend. So I would expect to see at least a nod to Earl from all the artists, at least in some way throughout the weekend as they perform their sets.
And John will be a part of it?
He will be. At least that's our understanding right now, unless something changes.
Any other questions? Yes.
When will we have a schedule of what time it starts and what time it ends, so we can make the travel plans?
Brownie Buster asking about when it starts and when it ends.
So we will we'll kick off on Friday and end on Sunday. The music and fill it in between with lots of music. So that's to give you a more specific answer, though. Great question. The gates at the Tryon Resort Center open at 7 a.m. each day. So there will be opportunities for folks to come in and participate in some of the workshops, the music, various collaborations throughout the weekend. The first set of music, if you give me a second, I know we're going to post schedules here in the next, actually I think they're going to go out later today. Wednesday. Okay, thanks Danielle. And we'll have the full schedules there then. But there are basically two stages, the main stage and then what's called the Flint Hill stage to give a nod to Earl's music, and then the Foggy Mountain stage, another nod to Earl's music. So music at those two stages throughout the weekend, Friday, Saturday. Special gospel brunch on Sunday morning by Darren and Brooke Aldridge. So that'll be something that'll be happening over in the kind of the Legends Pavilion area, and they'll be performing there. We are, still tweaking and fine-tuning some of the collaborations and things like that. So we'll have more information to share about what those collaborations and things will look like here in the next few weeks. But the preliminary stage schedules of all the artists will go out this Wednesday. And again, 2 stages each day, and then the workshop stages as well over the course of Friday and Saturday. And I'm pretty excited to see how it's coming together. It's, back to the question that was asked in the back of the room, the pause gave us time for 3 things: collaboration, communication, and a little more contemplation. And in that, we were able to put together a lot of these special collaborations, special sets, just like the special Earl Scruggs Revue set for Saturday, the Live at Kansas State album for the Earl Scruggs Revue. And we're going to play that album will be played in its entirety, performed in its entirety. And pretty excited about those collaborations that are happening. And that pause gave us the opportunity to put some special things like that together as well.
When you talk about workshops, I'm kind of intrigued about that. Could you elaborate?
Elaborating on workshops.
Sure. So starting on Friday, again, there's a number of different workshops that are going to be presented over the weekend, but a few of the ones that I can recall right off the top of my head, there is the Earl's Nashville years that I mentioned. That'll be an opportunity probably for song and story based on some of the participants that we expect to be there. These are all, kind of hosted, moderated by the artist and various folks that will be there throughout the weekend. So as we're spreading the word about the workshops, the interest to participate is just growing by the artists, which is great. So we may find that we have artists that we aren't even anticipating participating in the workshops showing up to be a part of the workshop once we have announced those. Some of the other workshops, Tommy Goldsmith that I mentioned, he's going to be hosting a workshop, various authors that have written books about Earl's life, about the music of Flatt and Scruggs, various things like that. It'll be an opportunity to sit down. And the nice thing about the workshops is much like this, it's an opportunity for the audience to ask the artist questions, ask those participants questions. So it's not going to be just we sit here and we talk about our experiences with Earl or the music, but it's an opportunity for the audience to be interactive and participate as well. So it's going to be something that I think the fans will be really appreciative of, because it's an opportunity to really get close to the artist and ask the questions you may have always wanted to ask. And we'll all be waiting, just like everyone else, to see how they answer those questions. So excited about that.
Yes.
Food and beverage at the facility. So when I go to a festival, I sit down and I try to catch every minute. You mentioned restaurants, so you have to exit the arena and go to the restaurant. Food service, beverage service closer to the festival itself.
Question about the layout and how to get back and forth for food vendors and whatnot.
Yeah, you'll get an opportunity like a traditional festival where there'll be food vendors set up right there adjacent to the main stage. So if you want to go grab something quick and take part in some of those vendors, you have that option. The other nice thing is where the second stage, the Foggy Mountain stage is, it is right there in the main plaza. So if you were having breakfast at Rogers Diner and wanted to watch Darren and Brooke play Sunday Morning Bluegrass, you'd absolutely be able to do that with full table service. And same thing across the other restaurants, all have outdoor patios, all are very much within earshot of that second stage. And if you time it, depending on when the breaks and stuff are, if you want to sit down and have a steak at Legends Grill, you can do that and still catch music. That wouldn't be any problem at all. Or if you want to be inside, you can probably still catch a little bit of it as well. But the traditional food vendor options will be out there, as well as drinks available throughout the grounds. So you'll have that opportunity to do that. But you just got a lot of indoor options as well as traditional festival options.
Yes.
So I love the idea of bringing all these people together who care about Earl Scruggs and who are passionate about him already. And I'm wondering if you all can talk about what you're doing to catalyze and inspire that same passion and enthusiasm in the next generation.
Question about passing the torch of Earl's restoration.
So there are a couple of things we're doing. First of all, Steve mentioned that we're involving the JAM program, which is the Junior Appalachian Musicians Program. So we're involving young musicians to come play on the stage, to have maybe their first festival experience. And so we're involving them in a big way. We're also hosting some special workshops just for them too. So that's one way we're doing that. We're having a strong emphasis on youth education and youth involvement. Another thing that we're doing is we have some footage of Earl interviews, jam sessions, things like that that have never been seen before, that will be showing on the big screens between artists. So the folks who come to the festival will have really the first opportunity to see this footage of Earl, him talking about growing up in Cleveland County, or him talking about touring with Bill Monroe or Flatt and Scruggs. So really there's this really interesting educational piece and kind of behind the scenes to learn about Earl and his life that will be showing throughout the festival.
Yes, Laura.
I've also been working with Come Here North Carolina, and I bet some of the media folks don't know about that state initiative. And I know they're partnering with you also. Could somebody talk about that a little bit?
Sure, question about the Come Here North Carolina.
So Sure. So Come Here North Carolina, they are sponsoring and presenting the Foggy Mountain Stage on Friday. Of course, their initiative of the North Carolina Arts Council to promote North Carolina music. And so throughout the day on Friday on the Foggy Mountain Stage, you'll see North Carolina artists from all over the state. So the focus is to really show, to highlight North Carolina artists and really the diverse artists that we have in North Carolina from all the way across the state. So we're really excited about that partnership and the fact that they wanted to come be a part of this festival and really tie North Carolina music and Earl's legacy together.
All right. I think that ought to be about it. Now we can start having some more fun with some picking and pulling aside for any other side questions. Oh, wait, Darren has one.
I just want to say, thanks for having this on my birthday. That was really fun. This is a really nice birthday present.
That's good. You celebrate your birthday. That's right. We will be sure to bring a present.
Joe, I'd just like to say once again, thanks for you folks for all being here. Thanks especially for all of our artists that's here and for those that are coming to the festival. This is our inaugural first ever Earl Scruggs Music Fest, not Earl Fest. And I say that because Earl insisted that if we ever done a festival, that we not interfere with Earl Fest and it be called Earl Fest. Because he was really good friends with those folks and with Doc, and so it's the Earl Scruggs Music Festival. And thank you again, we really appreciate you being here. Hope you'll look around if you hadn't already, and I'm looking forward to the jam session back there.
I don't know, man.
Sing down the road or,
Yeah. Here, I can probably get most of the lyrics So, how do the kids, or three fingers? Can you song it?
Nah, you get it. When you started that, I had Lonesome Road Blues, and I had the wrong road. I was going down that wrong road.
there's a lot of roads in the bluegrass.
I know. It's just like, which road am I on? Not that
Yeah, he's got a job. Yeah, we're unemployed.
Yes, I said, I'm not doing my day job, I'm going over there.
Unemployable.
My boss is in, it's all good. I'm in Communicado right now. Jimmy John.
We'll do, Roll on my Sweet Baby's Arms. You want to kick it?
You like it real fast? Hey?
Yeah.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
Ain't gonna work on the railroad. Ain't
How about Soldier's Joy? Just because that's
Steve Ball. Side of the mantle it's all covered up.
Yeah, right?
And I have the best headstock.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Who built that?
Bart Ryder.
I don't know that maybe it's more common than I realize. I've never seen that F-hole cut. That's the first banjo with F-hole on it I've seen.
You know what's funny about this? They made a version of this with 4 or 8, and it doesn't make any difference. And if you put tape over it, because it's up against your whatever. It's, the thing about this banjo is good, it has 2 tone rings. My brother.
Well, imagine if I had 3, what it sound like.
So, what key?
F, if I should want to back tonight.
Great.
Try to keep it.
bluegrass banjo player today.
You don't have to.
I can't believe we're in the Scruggs Center, there's not one bluegrass banjo player. So. I can play the chord, but I won't be no good on the melody. Bring in the fireball, man.
Yeah. Keep it down. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like everybody else is right here.
Oh, yeah.
That top to it.
Yeah,
it worked. It worked. I was like,
on
that's a good idea. Yeah, exactly.
Bringing in the fireball mail, and then of course, oh, bringing the George mail.
Long mail, long nose.
Clearly not what I said.
get back to work?
No. I ain't going back now.
I ain't ever going back. I'm never going back.
Let's do that. That's what you hear Earl saying. Instead of the first day at this new law firm down here, I'm saying, you're in. You didn't seem to care. Tell me you went in a good. Yeah, right. Got you a good gig.
I've lost a lot of good jobs because of Blue Ray.
I know you remember
A lot of.
Jim Rollins. I know you remember Jim. I remember he was telling me one time that he laid out of work one time to go play this music, and they got turned on Channel 3 News was like videoing them, and he said, I'm done. I might as well go ahead and put my resignation in. He said, I wanted to put a bag on my head.
That happened to me. I laid out of work one day and told him I was sick and went and played this function party. And it was a bunch of my bosses from work. It was junket. And here they all were there. And I'm like, aren't you supposed to be at work? I said, aren't you supposed to be at work? And they had skipped out too. It was some big party for the downtown association. Yeah, so they let me slide.
Honor among thieves. Don't
Yeah.
say a word.
Exactly. It was honor among thieves. Grabbing the lawn? Yeah, yeah.
thin or whatever, you go worn out.